Hi everyone, welcome to the Outbound Build channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Lincoln LE31 MP welder. We're going to be unboxing this welder. It's a multi-process welder. It does flux, MIG, TIG, and stick welding. Over here to my right, I have an old welder that I use. It's a 85 Campbell that my dad bought around 10 years ago, and it just doesn't have enough settings or adjustments that I'm looking for my projects. Down here, it's a high and low setting, and that's all I have for voltage setting wise as adjustments. Yeah, I can't control my wire speed, but it's just not leaving behind a beautiful weld that I'm looking for. So we're going to be unboxing and setting it up for flux core wire over here on the Lincoln, and showing you guys what comes inside the box, and let's get started. So we got a manual over here and some packaging. Let's see. Box. We got a gas line included. The wiring and the ground plug. We got the MIG gun over here. Let's see what else. We got the stick holder, the rod holder. Can't reach it. We got a pressure gauge for when you're using shielding gas. And let's take out, I think that's it on the small stuff. Let's take out the whole thing. Alright. I think that's it. Alright, so let's go through it all. Inside this box we have the ground clamp. Yeah, it looks like the ground clamp. And some extra tips and a fitting for the MIG gun. Yeah, I think it's for the MIG gun. Some extra fittings. So let me show you everything that it comes with. So we got the ground clamp over here. And we got some extra fittings and tips and stuff, so for different wire thickness. We got the hose for shielding gas, comes included. Then, let's see how these look. Oh, they're stuck on there. We got the gauges for your shielding gas. There's one that has a sticker on it, and the other one's cleared up. Take a look at these. So we got the MIG gun over here with the silver tip. Then it's for stick welding. This is the clamp. This is the rod holder. And looks like the wire for the ground clamp is in here, and a spare wire for, I'm guessing, the TIG gun. So the TIG torch, actually, this is not included in the whole set. The TIG torch you have to get separately, and it's around a $80 to $100 add-on. And then over here we have the welder. So let's see what else is inside. So we got some wire in here. We got 025 and 023. Take a look there. We got a handle. I'm not sure for what that is. And let's see what else we have in here. So we got a guide here on welding purposes, like what combinations you're going to be using for the thickness of the metal that you're going to be welding. And This is your voltage settings. So we got A through J, as you can see right here. This feels surprisingly good, like from what I used to on the older machine. Over here we got our wire speed. Here we have our selection, our welding selection. So we got wire, which is flux and MIG. We got our TIG selection over here and our stick selection. All of this looks like it has LEDs in it, and over here has our voltage temperature. So if the machine's getting too hot, and the duty cycle. This machine, from what I read online, is a 60% duty cycle, so that means it can run for 6 minutes out of 10 minutes. So for every 6 minutes that it runs consistently on a long weld, 4 minutes have to be resting. Now, down here we have our negative and positive. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. There's a little symbol down there, negative and positive. You'll be switching on polarity on this one, so depending on what weld you're going to be doing, if you're going to be doing flux wire or you're going to be doing MIG wire with shielding gas. That's what I mean. And down here we have our TIG pedal. So this will give power to your TIG pedal. This is what you're going to be controlling with, and this is the connection that you're going to be using for your flux core wire and MIG wire when you're welding. Alright, and over here in the back we have our on and off switch and our shielding gas. This is where you would connect your tank or whatever you're using, C25, argon, whatever it is you're going to be using for your welds. And we have a fuse back here, a reset or a breaker to reset it in case it gets too hot or it pulls a lot too much amps. So in here, to set it up for wire speed, remember this is your 10-pound holder, and we're going to be taking out this butterfly again. Just wanted to show you guys the up close version so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So we take out the butterfly, and then we take out the 10-pound holder, and then there's this little plastic spacer that came out. Right here, this little plastic spacer, you see there has a little notch. This spacer is the one that's going to allow your wire wheel to turn as it's pulling. So you don't want to just leave it with the butterfly on, because then it's going to be too tight and it's not going to allow your wheel to turn. So we're going to take that off. We're going to get our wire and rip off the packaging and stuff. So right here, we're going to give our wire. Do not let go of your wire. When you unbuckle it from one of the little holes that comes around the wheel, show you right here, one of these little holes, do not let go of your wire. If you let go of your wire, it's going to undo itself and it's just going to create a huge mess for you. So when you get that wire, do not let go of it. So let's go ahead and insert it. I'm going to give it a turn just to get it in. So I'm just keeping my thumb on there. We're going to use our spacer. That notch, there's a notch on the screw itself. You want to line it up, stick it in, and then we're going to put the butterfly on there. You don't want to tighten it too tight, but just snug. When you feed the wire through and you see the wire being pulled, if it looks like it's too tight, loosen it a little bit. If it looks too loose, tighten it a little bit. So to get started, we're going to loosen over here. This is our tensioner. You see these numbers, 1 through 5, I believe, and we're going to be loosening this up. By the way, this is all I saw on another YouTube video, and I'm learning myself here. This is the first time I'm doing this. So after you take off the tensioner, you're going to pull back. This is where the tensioner was hooked up. You're going to pull back, and this is the bearing that gives the tension on the wire. You're going to pull back on that. Once you have that loose, you're going to grab your wire. I need to get some wire cutters right now to cut off this tip. Alright, so we got the wire cutters. Now we got to cut off the tip. Make sure it's straight. Nice and straight, so when we're going to feed it, there we go. Now, once you got your wire, still, don't forget, do not let off your thumb. You don't want it to unravel at all. Once you do that, you see this little spring right here? right here, we're going to feed our wire through it. We're going to go ahead, start feeding it through. Alright, now the wire's coming out of this side. Now the wire, there's a little tip right here where you want to feed your wire through. If you guys want to see that, let's go ahead. There's a little tip in there. There's a little tip in here right there where you want to feed your wire through. Now you're just going to place your thumb and guide the wire through. See if I can get this. Okay, so I finally got it in. It goes into that little silver tip down there with the gold base. As you can see in there, it goes into that little silver tip. So now once you got that in, you're going to go ahead and drop this, the tensioner, the bearing, lift up this screw up here again, and we're going to put the tensioner back on there, the selector. So that comes with the spring and everything. We're going to hold it. There's these two notches. You want to put it on, line it up, and then you're going to screw it in. Okay, so once you got that part on, you're going to tighten it down. You see the wheels going down slowly, but you're going to tighten it down somewhere around 3. And now that's done, you can go ahead and let go of your wire. And pull back on the wheel a little bit. So there we go. Now we got our wires set in. Now let's plug in the MIG gun. So once you have your wire through, there's this wheel right here that's going to secure your MIG gun. So you're going to grab the MIG gun, and then this is the entry point. This is what you're going to insert into this gold brass from the front. Right here you can see that the wire's fed through there. So we're going to go ahead and put it in, and then we're going to tighten it with this wheel right here. Put this in all the way past these orange seals. You're going to insert it. Once you get it in, you're going to go ahead and tighten the wheel back here. Once you got that fed through, we're going to go ahead and feed in a little bit of wire, get it started at least. So what I did to feed it in a little bit was I undid the tensioner. I just took it off again, but I left it hooked on. It's a little tight, but just started feeding it through. Now I just want to get that started. Then we're going to put the tensioner through it again. And we're going to tighten this up. You want to be pressing down because of the spring that's loaded in there. So we'll tighten it again. All the way to 3. So we're going to have to connect this one. This is the one that's going to give the power to the wire feeder. What I mean by that is when you pull the trigger, it's going to tell it to feed the wire through into the gun. And where that goes is down here where I told you the TIG pedal goes plugged into. It's the same one, and we're going to plug it in. So down here at the bottom of the machine where the negative and positive terminal are, there's this connection down here with multiple holes. Make sure you line them up. The one that we're going to do has 2 connections. You see right there, there's two pins, and those are going to be lined up to the top. And it's not going to plug in like a normal pin connection normally does. You're going to line it up, put the pins up there, and then you're going to start screwing it in. And that's how it's connected. You don't push in and the pins connect and then you screw in. No. You're going to align the pins and then you're going to start screwing it in right there. And since we're doing a flux core wire, we're going to be connecting to our negative terminal down here. This is the cable that came already attached to the welder. So we're going to plug it in. And just so you guys know, don't forget to watch out for this notch. There's a notch right here, and you're gonna line it up with the notch on the negative terminal. You're gonna plug it in, and then you're gonna twist. Let's see, you're gonna twist clockwise until it stops. Then you leave it there, and now we're gonna plug into power. There are two things that I forgot to mention. Make sure you're using your flux core wire if you're gonna be doing flux core welding. Do not use the MIG wire. The ones that come included with the Lincoln are 025 and 035. The 025 is for MIG with shielding gas, and the 035 is flux core wire with no shielding gas. Second thing I forgot to mention is this black wheel right here. It goes right under the wire, so we're using 035 wire. That is the thickness of the wire. So when you undo this, there's a bearing right here. You can see that there's 035 written on it. So that means that the 035 groove is under the wire. If I want 025, I'll flip it over and it says 025. So whatever you want to use, make sure it's facing you, not facing away from you. Now that we got all that set up, we're going to turn on the welder. The fan's going to turn on. Your lights are going to turn on. Make sure you're on the wire setting. And make sure you have your switch upward. The bottom switch is for a spool gun when you're using aluminum. It's an aluminum spool gun. Make sure it's pointed upward. Once you got that, I'm going to unravel the gun. Unravel all the wire. Now I'm going to start pulling the trigger. And if you don't want to wait that long, you can go ahead and turn up the wire speed. I'm going to turn it up to 7. And as I'm doing that, you can see the wire coming through. Right there. And eventually the wire is going to come out. And there you go. That's how you install your flux core wire. Then you're going to grab your wire cutter, cut off the tip. When I normally welded with flux core on the old welder, I would leave about a 1/4 inch out on the tip, nothing longer. That's around where you want to be at. Alright everyone, this concludes the end of the first video on the channel. Coming up next, we're going to be doing a 2020 Jeep Gladiator leveling kit install. After that, we're going to be attacking overland vehicle conversion on my truck with this welder. So you're going to be seeing this welder in action. So subscribe, and thanks for watching.